Harry Potter Chaos Demon, Dumbledore begs me to graduate. Welcome funds. Enjoy exclusive audiobook experiences right here. Check out my website for more episodes and audiobooks. Links are in the description. Episode 21 Sorting Ceremony. The boomerang he threw out finally hit himself. McGonagall could never have imagined that the two most talented students in their school were the ones who almost caused the first freshman expulsion incident since the founding of Hogwarts. What's going on? There was no need to rush for the sorting ceremony. McGonagall squeezed through a passage, came to Wayne and asked sternly. She had to figure out the whole story before she could decide on the twins. Is it a week of confinement or a month of confinement? Wayne repeated it again without adding anything extraneous. He was just such an honest man. When he finished speaking, it was Professor McGonagall's turn to be in trouble. If you want to say it's an exaggeration, Gemini and Cedric are just following tradition and at most describing it in more detail. There's nothing wrong with it. But what if she did nothing and just let the twins go? McGonagall felt extremely uncomfortable again. This almost scared away several freshmen, so we must not let it go. Okay, I can guarantee that there is absolutely no danger in the sorting ceremony. Don't worry. Now form two lines, keep quiet and follow me. Let's put the matter of the twins aside for now. It won't be too late to deal with it after the separation is completed. Despite McGonagall's assurance, most of the freshmen were still extremely nervous and followed her numbly. Hermione hadn't recovered yet, so to make sure she didn't fall, Wayne could only hold the little witch's smooth little hand and walk forward like he was pulling a doll. A group of people walked out of the room, crossed the hall, passed through the door on the other side, and finally entered the main hall of Hogwarts. The auditorium is extremely magnificent, with thousands of candles floating in the air. It is not environmentally friendly at all, but it makes the place as bright as day. 4 long tables were placed side by side, and on a slightly higher step was a main guest seat, where only one seat was currently vacant. The ceiling here is enchanted and looks like a real starry sky. The beautiful and magnificent scenery helped Hermione recover a lot, and she subconsciously did some scientific research. After she finished speaking, she realized that her hand was still held by Wayne, and her face flushed. Seeing that Wayne had no intention of letting go, she became even more anxious, but was too shy to say it out loud, so she could only let the boy control her. Professor McGonagall placed a high stool on the middle step of the auditorium with a hat on it. The hat's original color is no longer recognizable, but it's definitely not the gray-brown it is today. After doing all this, McGonagall first glared at the twins from his own college, leaving them confused, and then he walked down the stairs again and came to the freshmen. Then the hat suddenly jumped and split open, and began to sing like people's mouths. The old students are used to this, but the new students find it novel. A singing hat. Hogwarts is full of weird and wonderful things. Wayne also listened, but soon lost interest. It is said that the song sung by the sorting hat is different every year. It is used once a year, and the rest of the time the hat is thinking of the lyrics. But a flop is a flop. Even after a year of hard thinking, this word still doesn't make much sense. When the song ended, everyone applauded in unison. Whoever's name I call out puts on the hat and sits down to wait for the sorting, McGonagall said. Everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. It's just wearing a hat, anyone can do that. Although this hat was so dirty that many clean-loving little witches looked at it with disgust, compared to the tests Wayne mentioned. This is so easy. Hannah Abbott, a girl with pigtails, ran over hurriedly. Wayne's eyes also fell on this Iron Hat King. The young lady put the hat on her head, and in a moment, the sorting hat had made its decision. Hufflepuff. The people at the table on the right applauded Hannah and welcomed her. Susan Bones. Susan, who had just been in the same boat with Wayne and Hermione, took over. Hufflepuff. 2 students in a row were sorted into Hufflepuff, which undoubtedly made the Badgers very happy. Cedric applauded excitedly in the crowd. Suddenly he felt a pair of eyes staring at him. Turning his head, Wayne was looking at him with a half-smile. Thinking of how he had fooled Wayne on the train, the honest Cedric waved his hands at him awkwardly. Wayne didn't care. Laugh, laugh. You won't be able to laugh anymore after a while. Professor McGonagall's anger was completely ignited. Terrorbutt. Ravenclaw. The team was dwindling, and Hermione took the time to ask Wayne which house he wanted to go to. When the little witch heard the word Hufflepuff, her face was full of disbelief. The book says that Hufflepuff should be the most mediocre house in Hogwarts. Why does Wayne want to go there? But it was too late, and Hermione was soon called according to the alphabet. She almost ran to the stool and put it on hurriedly. Because her head was too small, almost her entire head fit in it. Gryffindor, the hat called out, and Wayne wasn't surprised. Without any external influence, it was normal for Hermione to go to Gryffindor. A few more little wizards passed by. Wayne observed and found that the fewest students were sorted into Ravenclaw and Slytherin, especially Slytherin, with only 2 so far. There are only 4 Ravenclaws. Hufflepuff had the most seats, and that was indeed the case. There were still many empty seats at the tables of other colleges, but Hufflepuff's looked the only one that was completely full. Neville Longbottom, McGonagall shouted again. When Neville put on the hat, it took a long time for the Sorting Hat to call out Gryffindor. Neville ran away with the hat excitedly, causing a burst of laughter. He blushed and trotted back to put the hat away. Wayne was sure that at this moment Neville wanted to turn into Rifle and hide somewhere where no one could find him. Wayne Lawrence. McGonagall finally called Wayne's name. All the freshmen looked at Wayne. They were frightened by the deception just now, and Malfoy gritted his teeth. Many senior students were also impressed. What a cute little wizard, come into your sister's arms and let your sister love you well and check your wand. At the guest of honor table, Dumbledore raised his head, his glasses reflecting the light, and curiosity welling up in his heart. Which house will this little genius who can spontaneously use the Patronus charm as soon as he gets a wand be assigned to? Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Wayne slowly picked up the hat and put it on his head. Soon, a voice sounded from my mind. Oh, what an interesting little wizard. Episode 22, The Sorting Hat, How Are You Related to Hufflepuff? Actually, it was during the summer vacation, when I just received the admission letter from Hogwarts. Wayne is a little afraid of the Sorting Hat. He has too many secrets, including cheats, his identity as a time traveler, and memories that allow him to be familiar with the plot. Each of these is a shocking secret. Once people find out, they will probably want to slice him up and study him. But with the understanding and mastery of magic, and more analysis, Wayne discovered that the Sorting Hat was not as scary as he had imagined. This hat embodies the wisdom of the four founders and has the ability to send young wizards to the academy that best suits them. But this does not mean that the Sorting Hat can see through a person's memory. He could only see the most superficial thoughts, and like Legilimency, he could also detect the shining points in the little wizards to help them identify the school. So, Wayne simply carried out a few mind-shifting exercises and stopped worrying about it. On the contrary, Lao Deng is the one who needs more attention. If one day I meet the eyes of old B and I am thinking about something related to the plot or the system, I will be in big trouble. You're not nervous at all? Turning our attention back to Litang, the Sorting Hat and Wayne were communicating with each other in consciousness. In the past 1,000 years, the Sorting Hat has seen all kinds of young wizards, but there are not many who are as relaxed as Wayne. Why are you so nervous? Wayne asked back, it's just these 4 colleges. Can you really expel me? Of course not, kid. The Sorting Hat responded cheerfully, but I could yell, Azkaban, and that would work well. I once heard Dumbledore complain that Azkaban has become a refresher course for Hogwarts. With your talent, it shouldn't be a problem for you to go straight in. Wayne remained calm. That's the Ministry of Magic's territory. You don't have the ability to do that. Just kidding, if he had SS-level dark magic talent, he might panic for a few seconds. But now? An A+ talent in black magic is certainly not bad, but it depends on what you are comparing it to. He has all the SS-level talents, and when it comes to black magic, Wayne can be described as stupid now. Snort. Seeing that it didn't scare Wayne, the Sorting Hat snorted and began to perform its duties, nagging in Wayne's mind. Overflowing with talent, this comfortable feeling reminds me of Dumbledore back then. How about Gryffindor? You don't like Gryffindor? Hey, boy, be polite to the academy my master built. Although I don't like those little lions very much, they always want to give me a bath. Then Slytherin. There's no doubt you'll reach the top there, but your ambition. Merlin's bitter tea seed, why is your ambition limited to this? If I sort you into Slytherin, Slytherin will hate me. Wayne's face rarely turned red. His ambition, let's not talk about it. It is our duty to strengthen the Lawrence family. Then let's go to Ravenclaw. Smart little brains are very popular in Ravenclaw, and you can also realize your ambitions by the way. Ravenclaw has the most girls. Wayne couldn't help it. Old hat, why don't you mention Hufflepuff? The Sorting Hat was silent. Maybe it was because of Wayne's novel name, but more likely it was because I was amazed at Wayne's lack of self-awareness. No, the Sorting Hat asked in a somewhat messy tone, how can you tell that you have the qualities that Hufflepuff needs? What do you mean? Wayne was unhappy. Which one of mine is missing? Loyalty? My younger brothers were all very loyal to me. No one dared to betray me in elementary school. Sorting Hat. Is this how you understand it? Kind? I'm too lazy to even step on the ants on the roadside. Persistence? I will always be SP. Wayne answered this last question with great certainty. Sorting Hat. Do you really want to go to Hufflepuff? The Sorting Hat was confused. It felt that there was nothing wrong with what Wayne said, but there were also big problems. Fortunately, the little wizard's wishes also accounted for a large proportion in the sorting, so he asked again. Sure, hurry up. I'll bring you a set of Muggle clothing maintenance tools when I have time. It's a deal. The Sorting Hat became interested. A dirty deal was struck, and the Sorting Hat shouted, Hufflepuff. When the dust settled, the entire auditorium erupted in thunderous applause and heartfelt blessings. Except for Hermione, the little witch felt a little disappointed. She actually hoped that Wayne could come to Ravenclaw so that she would have a companion in class. It's too long. After a full 15 minutes, another sorting hat, a student whose sorting hat could not decide the result for more than 5 minutes, appeared in Hogwarts. All the teachers and students in the school remembered the name Wayne Lawrence. Looking back at history, there have only been 2 other hat tricks in this century besides Wayne. One is Peter Pettigrew, the late MMI. The other one was Professor McGonagall standing next to Wayne. He looked at Wayne, who took off his hat, nodded to him, and ran to the Hufflepuff table. She thought of several possible outcomes. Wayne could go to Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, or even Slytherin. But I never expected that it would be Hufflepuff in the end. She called out the name of the next little wizard and glanced at the sorting hat subtly. Could it be that this hat has lost its mind because it has been working for too long? This way. Cedric stood up and waved enthusiastically. The classmate next to him made room for Wayne. After he sat down, Cedric whispered, "You're amazing. It lasted 15 minutes. I can hardly stand it." Wayne watched in horror as Cedric rubbed his belly. "I'm starving. You guys have been taking so long." "Oh, so that's what you mean." It scared him. "So how long did it take you?" "Me? It'll be over in 3 seconds. Isn't that fast?" That was fast. Wayne gave a thumbs up, and Cedric was very proud. Everything went much more smoothly for the next students, until Harry Potter appeared, causing another commotion in the hall. When he was sorted into Gryffindor, the twins and several classmates nearby almost overturned the table. Episode 23, Professor McGonagall's Revenge. When the last one, Blaise Zabini, was sorted into Slytherin. Professor McGonagall rolled up the parchment, took the sorting hat and left, re-sitting at Dumbledore's right. The little wizards all looked at the principal expectantly, waiting for his order to start showing off immediately. Dumbledore stood up with a big smile on his face and opened his arms. It seemed that nothing could make him happier than to have all the students gathered together. "Welcome," he said in a booming voice. "Welcome everyone to Hogwarts to start the new school year. I want to say a few words before the banquet, and that is, idiot, crybaby, scum, twist, thank you everyone." Old Deng sat down again and everyone applauded and cheered. Diagonally opposite Wayne, a little badger looked confused. "What do you mean by these words, Principal? Are you a Ravenclaw? What nonsense are you talking about?" "Of course I'm Hufflepuff." "Then why do you care about this? Just eat your food." The originally empty plates were filled with food: roast beef, roast chicken, pork chops, lamb chops, sausages, steak, mashed potatoes, French fries, pudding, various vegetables, gravy and sauce, and even mint candy. In terms of variety, it is definitely rich, especially for the UK, which is a food desert. You can't ask for more from a country where the only culinary taboos at state banquets are French cuisine. Wayne eats pretty well. He is not picky about food. As long as the quality of the ingredients is good, steak, lamb chops and other dishes will not be bad no matter how they are cooked. He also saw Ronald at the Gryffindor table, eating a chicken drumstick in each hand, and he was so busy that he wanted to eat one in a bite. Wayne felt that he should be assigned to Hufflepuff, which was a paradise for foodies. People in other colleges ate and talked at the same time, but at Badger's place, the only thing they did was eat. Cedric only spoke a few words to Wayne at the beginning, and in the end, his cheeks were stuffed, and he didn't forget to put a big chicken drumstick on Wayne's plate. "He really made me cry." At the guest of honor table, Snape was talking to Quirrell. Quirrell had a scarf wrapped around his head, making him look more like an Arab. Professor McGonagall also whispered in Professor Sprout's ear, only to see that Sprout looked a little unhappy. "Lawrence, can you help me get 2 Yorkshire puddings?" The Iron Hat King, who was sitting 1 seat away, looked eagerly. "Just call me Wayne, Hannah." Wayne gave her the pudding. The little girl smiled cutely, her pigtails swinging back and forth, and then she buried her head in her food again. A milky white ghost was sitting nearby, introducing and recommending dishes that he thought were good. Everyone called him the Fat Monk. Well, Wayne's feeling is a little subtle. The wizards who were hunted crazily by the church in the Middle Ages became monks. This feeling is really hard to describe. The banquet lasted nearly an hour, and at the end a bunch of desserts were served. Wayne declined. Desserts in England were like eating icing sugar, and he didn't want to get diabetes at such a young age. Finally, the pudding disappeared, Dumbledore stood up, and the hall became quiet again. The young wizards were waiting for the principal's final lecture. But just as Dumbledore was about to speak, Professor McGonagall suddenly said, "Wait a moment, Albus, I have something I need to take care of before you speak." Dumbledore was taken aback, as there was no such step in the past. However, he soon smiled gently and let McGonagall speak first. Although Dumbledore was the principal, sometimes, when McGonagall got strict, even he had to avoid him. Although Dumbledore is nominally the headmaster, it is Professor McGonagall who is actually responsible for the day-to-day running of the school. George, Fred, you two will be on detention starting tomorrow. Report to Filch at 8 p.m. every night and wipe all the trophies in the trophy room 3 times. You will be released from detention when you finish. The Gemini, who was still telling jokes to make the girl happy, was stunned, then stood up. Why, Professor McGonagall? The Gemini's eyes were full of confusion and grievance. They had a lot of bad intentions, but they had just arrived at school and had not yet put them into practice. Is it now popular to punish in advance? You're asking me. McGonagall glared at the two of them sternly. Who told you to scare the young wizards and describe the sorting ceremony as so terrifying? Sprout also spoke with a smile. She was a plump lady who looked very gentle. Cedric, you should go and help too. Now, both the twins and Cedric looked at Wayne. The case is solved. Wayne lowered his head shyly, as if he was embarrassed. Yes, Professor. The three of them replied dejectedly. Cedric gritted his teeth and whispered. You're deliberately tricking us. Wayne remained calm. Don't talk nonsense. I'm just a young wizard who just started school. I don't know anything. That's too bad. You should have been sorted into Slytherin. Cedric raised his middle finger. The twins looked at each other and laughed silently. Even though they were tricked by Wayne, what should they do if they find it more interesting? This is much more fun than their stupid brother Ronald. Okay, Dumbledore said, still smiling. Seeing that you are still so energetic, I feel much more relieved. However, I still want to raise a few points of caution for everyone. First-year students, please note that no student is allowed to enter the forested area on the school grounds. Our senior students should also remember this. His bright eyes swept over the twins, but they were busy plotting how to get back at Wayne and didn't notice at all. It's like throwing a wink to a blind man. Also, Mr. Filch asked me to remind everyone not to perform magic in the corridors during class breaks. Quidditch auditions will also be held in the second week of this semester. Students interested in joining the team can contact Miss Hooch. Finally, I must tell everyone, anyone who does not want to suffer an accident and a painful death, please do not enter the corridor on the right side of the 4th floor. Wayne curled his lips in disdain. Isn't this just trying to cover up the truth? What old Dang said was simply that he had buried all his treasures and glory in the corridor on the right side of the 4th floor. Go find it. The group of little lions are now ready to fight. Now, before we all retire to bed, let's sing the school song. Dumbledore called out. All the teachers and students stood up, and Wayne also stood up. At the same time, the system in his mind issued a prompt. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to the host, close black lens bracket. I'm looking for some data, and thank you GK for the reward. Chapter 24, Hufflepuff's exclusive privileges. Congratulations to the host for successfully making the Weasley twins, Hufflepuff's model student Cedric, see the evil of human nature. Because this is the first time the host has displayed his talent at Hogwarts, his points are doubled, plus 2 OO points. There was chaos in the hall. Dumbledore used magic to conjure up the lyrics, but there was no music sheet, so he let the students improvise freely. Wayne was lip-syncing on the surface, but his mind was racing. I just tricked the twins and Cedric and got 200 points. Even if there is no first recharge, BAH, the first doubling is still 100 points. It seems that after the system upgrade, it is much easier for him to earn points than before. He beat up all the students in the class and only got more than 100 points. Well, Hogwarts is indeed his blessed place. If you trick the twins once, you can get 100 points. If you trick them once every 3 days, won't you be guaranteed 1 gold medal for the whole year? Wayne licked his lips. It was indeed tempting. Fred and George, who were still singing the school song to the tune of Funeral March, couldn't help but shudder, as if they were being stared at by something terrible. The school song ended abruptly, and Dumbledore was so moved that he wiped his moist eyes. This is the charm of music. Okay, it's bedtime now, everyone go back to the dormitory. It was already past 8 o'clock when the sorting ceremony ended, and after another hour of eating, there was nothing wrong with Dumbledore asking everyone to go back to bed. The others ran away in a swarm, while the prefects organized the freshmen to stand in line and led them back to the lounge. Cedric was mixed in with the freshman team. Wayne, how are you going to compensate me? I don't understand what you're saying. Get some sleep tonight. You still have to go to CJB tomorrow, and that's a physically demanding job. Cedric laughed in anger. Stop pretending, it must be you who complained to Professor McGonagall. This is my first time in solitary confinement. What should I say? Thank you for giving your first time to Fred and George? Wayne shrugged helplessly. I didn't complain. Professor McGonagall found out himself. If you don't believe me, you can ask Hannah or Susan. The two girls were not far away and had been eavesdropping on their conversation. When Susan saw that she was called, she nodded subconsciously. Cedric realized that something was wrong and asked the two girls for details. After listening, his face turned pale. It's over, Professor McGonagall must be mad at me, and I wanted to join her Transfiguration club. Don't worry, Wayne comforted him, with George and Fred around, you're just an accomplice at best. Professor McGonagall will forget about it in a few days. Cedric stopped talking and made up his mind to never mess with Wayne again. This kid looks harmless, but he's full of bad intentions. Hufflepuff's common room is located in the school's basement. The entrance is located in the pile of large barrels to the right of the kitchen corridor. Just follow Helga Hufflepuff's rhythm and knock on the second barrel in the middle of the second row, and the barrel lid will rotate to reveal the passage. Unlike Gryffindor and Slytherin, whose passwords were constantly changing, Ravenclaw had to rack his brains to answer questions every time he entered or left. Hufflepuff's style of doing things is simple and practical. This password has been used since Hogwarts was founded and has never been changed. But even with such a simple password, no outsider has ever entered the Hufflepuff lounge. This is also the only college with face recognition. Even if you knock at the right rhythm, but it's not a badger, the gate will not open, and vinegar of various flavors will be sprayed out of the wooden barrel to drive away the intruder. It is said that many young wizards will deliberately knock on the wrong number when they are short of money, and then take the vinegar to sell. I don't know which unscrupulous store would buy this vinegar. It has all kinds of flavors. It would be a rip-off if they were given to customers. The prefects dutifully told the young wizards all this information and demonstrated it 3 times before finally opening the door to the common room. I ducked down and squeezed through the passage, and inside was a huge circular room. The common room has a low ceiling and a moderate temperature. It is simple yet comfortable, with hanging or placed plants everywhere, giving it the feeling of a cabin in the woods. There are also many plush sofas and chairs on the soft ground. Wayne is very satisfied with his entertainment environment for the next 7 years. Although it is a basement, there are actually windows here, so there is no shortage of sunlight. The female prefect walked to the fireplace and pointed at the portrait hanging above. It was a witch holding a golden cup and smiling brightly. This is Miss Helga Hufflepuff. Because of her kindness, she has taken in many house elves, saving them from abuse and insults. So, Hufflepuff will always be treated favorably in the kitchen. If you need anything, you can go to the next kitchen and get it. Don't be polite with them. Speaking of this, the class leader's face was full of pride. This is a privilege unique to Hufflepuff. Your politeness may seem to the elves like they haven't done their job well, and they'll blame themselves. After the introduction, the rest of the time is free time. As expected of Hufflepuff, many senior students warmly entertained the freshmen, taking out snacks from various sources to treat them. He patiently answered questions raised by freshmen and shared a lot of his own experiences. Wayne was also talking to Cedric about the school stairs. You must not sleep in tomorrow. The stairs in school are constantly changing. If you take the wrong step, you will most likely be late. It would be fine if it was the Dean's or Professor Flitwick's course. But if you're late for Transfiguration or potions. Cedric shuddered and gave him a look that said, may the best of luck. What's the point of just talking? Wayne said helplessly, I don't know what the pattern of this ghost staircase is. How about this? Cedric thought for a moment, the new students will get their class schedules at breakfast tomorrow. Come out early and I'll show you around. Wayne gave a thumbs up. As expected of you, Cedric, the quintessential Hufflepuff. Because you're so enthusiastic, I'll make sure you're safe when the Triwizard tournament begins. As the conversation got more lively, several class leaders took the senior students to the kitchen to get a lot of juice and hot water. It felt so good to be fed while lying down. Wayne couldn't help but admire himself for being so good at choosing a college. Until everyone felt sleepy and the number of people in the lounge gradually decreased, Wayne also came to his dormitory through the round door. Episode 25, Roommates, Trick the Twins Again. Inheriting the style of the common room, Hufflepuff student dormitory is equally spacious and warm. There are 4 beds in the room of nearly 100 square meters, separated by a desk and a wardrobe, so there is enough space for everyone. When the dormitories were finally assigned, there were only 3 boys in Wayne's dormitory because there was 1 boy short. The elves had already delivered their suitcases to their beds. They packed them up as expected, washed up briefly, and lay down on the bed to have a tea party. The first thing is to introduce yourself. My name is Norman Sherlock. The blonde boy whose bed was closest to the door introduced himself enthusiastically. My family is ordinary. My dad is a schoolteacher and my mum is a real estate agent. When I received the acceptance letter, I thought it was a prank. The next day, Professor Flitwick showed up. My mother initially thought he was a disabled beggar and gave him £5. But later, Professor Flitwick used a spell to conjure a bison out of thin air, and then made the bison float around my house. They finally believed it. When he said this, Norman's eyes were shining. Once he learns this trick, won't the family never be short of beef? We're not much different. The black-haired boy sleeping between Wayne and Norman spoke. His name was Toby Brown. My family is half and half, and my mum is a witch. Norman asked curiously, "Aren't you a mixed blood? How can you say you're almost like me?" "In order to hide her identity, Mum never used magic in front of us," Toby explained. "When the owl letter arrived, Dad thought it was a hoax, but Mum insisted it was all true. But when Dad asked her to prove it, she hadn't used magic in a long time and she had forgotten where she had lost her wand. Finally, it was Professor McGonagall who came and my dad finally believed it." Ahem. Norman laughed so hard that Wayne, who was drinking water, choked. "This is all weird. What about you, Wayne? Are you half-blood or Muggle-born?" Toby asked. Wayne didn't need to introduce himself. His impressive performance in the side hall and the sorting process that lasted more than 10 minutes made every young wizard remember his name. "I was born into a Muggle family, and my reaction to receiving the notice was similar to yours, nothing special." Wayne gave a brief talk without introducing his family situation. It was already late, and the three of them agreed to wait for Cedric in the lounge early tomorrow morning to show them the way, and the dormitory returned to silence. It can be seen that the two roommates are easy to get along with. The only drawback is that Toby snores when he sleeps. But this doesn't bother Wayne. Silence. Without even taking the wand, Wayne just casually waved his hand and muted Toby, which lasted for 3 to 5 hours. Sneak attack on roommate, points +5. Okay, let's play it this way, okay? If you want a sneak attack, then just do it. Just give me points. September 2nd is the first day of school. Wayne slept until he woke up naturally at 7 o'clock, gave each of his two roommates a big pouch, woke them up, washed up, and went to the common room. Without letting the three of them wait any longer, Cedric appeared, rubbing his sleepy eyes. There were only 4 of them in the common room at the moment, and Hufflepuff was definitely serious about tanking. Until the last moment, few people left the dormitory, and those who came out went straight to the auditorium to eat. "Come on, go have breakfast and get your class schedule, and I'll show you around." Several people came out of the passage and soon arrived at the auditorium. The good thing about living in the basement is that it is close to the cafeteria and most of the classrooms are on the lower floors, which saves a lot of time compared to Gryffindor and Ravenclaw. It was not yet 8 o'clock, and there were very few young wizards in the hall. Hermione was the only freshman sitting at the Gryffindor table. Seeing Wayne, she waved and said hello. Wayne walked over. "I'm going to follow Cedric to find the way later. Do you want to come with me?" "Okay." Hermione agreed readily. She had read Hogwarts, a history, and naturally knew how difficult the school's stairs were to deal with. "The reason I got up so early was to have time to familiarize myself with the place." After a few words, Wayne returned to the Hufflepuff table to have breakfast. Compared with yesterday's sumptuous breakfast, today's breakfast is much simpler. Baked potatoes, bread, sausage, bacon, eggs, beans, drinks include milk and several juices, hot cocoa. Wayne pulled 2 slices of bread for himself, spread mayonnaise on them, and added a few slices of bacon and eggs to make a simple sandwich. Soon after he sat down, a parchment schedule appeared in front of him. First-year wizards have 8 subjects this year: potions, charms, defense against the dark arts, transfiguration, history of magic, herbology, astronomy and flying. Astronomy and flight classes are only held once a week, and the astronomy class is in the evening. The remaining 6 courses have 2 to 3 classes per week, each class lasting 50 minutes. Wayne has no classes on Wednesday and Thursday afternoons this semester. Including the weekends, his time is basically split equally between classes and holidays, which is very relaxing. After a while, the twins also came to the auditorium. They looked around and found Wayne behind them, and immediately rushed over aggressively, looking like they were going to accuse him. "Wayne, how dare you come out?" Glancing at the passage behind the main guest seats, Wayne's expression changed, and he asked doubtfully, "Why am I afraid to come out? It's obvious that you and Cedric deceived me." Fred sneered, "We only told you. Who asked you to tell the other little wizards? I didn't know you were lying." "Stop pretending, Wayne." George made a face. "I can tell at a glance that you're not an honest man. It's always been me and Fred who played pranks on others, but we've never been tricked like this before." Wayne showed a frightened expression. "What are you going to do? Aren't you afraid that I will report Professor McGonagall?" Fred sneered. "What good would it do if you reported this to Headmaster Dumbledore? Can you find any evidence?" "Mr. Lawrence can't, but I can." An extremely cold female voice came from behind the two of them, and the smiles on Fred and George's faces froze. Transferred to Wayne's face. Episode 26, The Hidden Rules of 1,000 Years. The Weasley twins paid the price for their arrogance. Originally, the two men were just threatening and didn't really want to retaliate. They just wanted to see Wayne beg for mercy. But unfortunately, he was caught red-handed by Professor McGonagall, who had just arrived at the cafeteria. She had felt something was wrong when she saw her little lion standing at the long table at Hufflepuff Academy. When he got closer and heard what was said, his face turned blue with anger. He has been a student for 3 years, but he actually threatened a freshman who had just enrolled. When Wayne told her, the twins actually said that they were not afraid even if Dumbledore knew about it. Not afraid, right? I admire your willingness to die rather than surrender. The confinement that would have ended after wiping the trophy 3 times was doubled. After polishing the trophy, they also had to hand copy famous Gryffindor alumni and their life stories. When they heard the punishment, the twins almost fainted. 3 times. Those books combined are at least several dozen inches thick. The two of them didn't bother to settle the score with Wayne. Under the fierce watchful eyes of Professor McGonagall, they returned to the Gryffindor table in shame. You definitely did that on purpose. Cedric watched the whole process and made an extremely confident judgment. Wayne continued eating his sandwich and said calmly, everyone will die one day, and some people need a little help. Cedric was speechless. How on earth did this person get Hufflepuff? Sorting Hat, are you blind? After breakfast, Hermione stood coquettishly beside Wayne, allowing Norman and Toby to secretly give her a thumbs up from an angle where the little witch couldn't see. It's amazing that a cute little witch came to me right after I started school. Although Hermione's hair is a little messy, her foundation is there, and without showing her teeth, she is definitely the cutest thing. The other freshmen saw them gathered together and asked curiously. Then the team immediately grew stronger, and more than a dozen little badgers surrounded Cedric. In desperation, he could only call a few friends to help and split into several teams. A group of people walked out of the passage and came to the teaching area. There are a total of 142 staircases throughout the castle, and their shapes and locations change at any time. Maybe sometimes you walk up the stairs from the 3rd floor to the 4th floor, but once you step on them, the stairs will turn around and take you directly to the top floor. Honestly, I couldn't figure out the pattern for the past 2 years, especially on Fridays, when these stairs go crazy. Even seniors who are about to graduate sometimes get lost if they're not careful. Cedric took Wayne and Hermione to the 3rd floor, and his 2 roommates followed the other seniors. Be careful with this staircase. Don't exert any force or run when walking on it, or it will take you directly to the 8th floor. There are 4 more staircases like this. I can't remember exactly, maybe there are more. Hermione nodded vigorously and even took out a notebook to write it down. Wayne was a little bored. Cedric, is this how you fool your brothers? Give me some real stuff. What do you mean? Cedric looked at him blankly, not understanding what Wayne was referring to. Let's find a quick way to the secret passage outside the castle. What are you talking about? Cedric criticized righteously, how could I possibly know such a thing? Wayne, it's wrong to break school rules. Hermione sternly criticized Wayne's dangerous idea. If you haven't been caught, then you haven't violated the law. Wayne waved his hand, not caring at all. Cedric patted his shoulder, and that said it all. He understood the most basic rules of the school as soon as he entered the school, and it was only at the end of last semester that he gradually understood all of this. Why is Filch, a squib, the school warden? Why is it that as long as students are not caught in person, they will not be deducted points or punished even if the teacher sees their backs? This is the unspoken rule of Hogwarts that has been passed down for thousands of years. It is a battle of wits and courage between teachers and students, and it is also a form of training. Many people only gradually understand the mystery here after graduation, or even after they start a family and a career, and therefore regret it too late. How much wonderful life did they miss out on? Cedric smiled and said, since you've said that, let me show you some of my skills. He led Hermione and Wayne to an empty picture frame and tapped it 3 times with his wand, and the picture frame turned into a real door. Go out through here and you'll reach the bushes near the Quidditch pitch. Time is limited, so I won't take you away. Next position. Next, Cedric introduced Wayne to 2 secret passages, one of which led to the other side of the castle, which could be used to hide from Filch and his cat, Mrs. Norris, when he was discovered while wandering at night. The other one leads from the 5th floor to the 2nd floor and can be used for traveling. Hermione's worldview gradually collapsed. She had thought that Cedric was the same type of person as her, who loved studying and always ranked first in the class. Now it seems that this is not the case at all. Okay, that's all for today. I have to hurry to the basement. The first period today is potions. As the time approached 9 o'clock, Cedric said something hastily and left. Let's stop being in a daze and go to the 2nd floor. Seeing that Hermione was still a little unresponsive, Wayne urged her. Their first class of the day was History of Magic, taught by Hufflepuff and Gryffindor. Oh, Hermione followed the boy and finally couldn't help complaining. It shouldn't be like this. Aren't rules meant to be followed? Diggory is a good student, why should he? This is Hogwarts. Wayne suddenly stopped and turned around. The little witch almost threw herself into his arms. After all, the worldview of wizards is very different from that of muggles. Many things that seem excessive to you are actually not important in the wizarding world. The rules are the same. Wayne tempted Hermione like a little devil. Do you want to follow the rules and miss the real Hogwarts, or work hard to improve your ability to avoid teachers and explore this 1,000-year-old castle? Hermione was dizzy and her mind went blank. I just subconsciously held onto Wayne's clothes to ensure I wouldn't get lost. The two came to the classroom, where many people were already sitting, all with excited expressions on their faces. Until a ghost appeared through the wall and on the podium. Episode 27, Ronald's Gratitude. What a huge vengeance this is. The little badgers and lion cubs showed great enthusiasm and anticipation for the first class. They fantasize about waving their wands, chanting spells, mastering powerful magic, and gaining extra points from the professor. Unfortunately, after getting the timetable and discovering that the first class was history of magic, my enthusiasm dissipated a bit. He was even more shocked to find out that the professor was actually a ghost. Even worse was to come. Cuthbert Binns' voice was full of magic, and he spoke with a wheezing sound. In less than 5 minutes, the little wizards began to droop. Wayne was about to close his eyes when Hermione pinched him with her little hand and whispered, "Don't be distracted." Wayne looked helpless. "Sister, am I distracted? I'm about to lose my soul." He reads out content from the textbook. "I can memorize it after reading it once. There's no point in listening to the lecture. This is basic respect for the professor." Little McGonagall said seriously. She would not be fooled by Wayne in this regard. Wayne was already regretting sitting with Hermione at this point, and he couldn't even catch up on some sleep. At the same time, he was complaining in his heart that all the headmasters of Hogwarts were misers. Cuthbert Binns had been dead for centuries, so they must have kept him as history of magic professor just to avoid paying him. As the history of magic teacher invited by the 4 founders of Hogwarts since its founding, Cuthbert Binns was already very old at that time. One day he went to class and actually left his body on a chair in the staff lounge. After that, Hogwarts has never changed its professor of history of magic. A professor who does not ask for salary, does not take leave, and always has perfect attendance every year is the best labor force that countless headmasters dream of. But this has brought suffering to generations of young wizards, who have to endure torture in every class. For hundreds of years, no one has ever taken a NETW's course on history of magic. That's unheard of. Hello, Wayne. When Wayne was cursing the principal in his heart, saying that he should be hanged under the streetlight, Ronald, who was sitting at the table on the other side of him, suddenly greeted him in a low voice. Beside him, Harry Potter was nodding his head, about to fall asleep. Seeing Ronald actually talking to Wayne, he suddenly became energetic. "What's up, Ronald?" Wayne saw that Hermione didn't care about him, so he replied with relief. "Oh, nothing." Ronald shook his head. "I just wanted to say thank you. You're amazing. This is the first time I've seen George and Fred get humiliated by someone." Twice. Ronald was a little excited and his voice was much louder, waking up several little wizards from their sweet dreams. Harry was speechless as he looked at his best friend whom he had just met for a day. Those who know them would think that the twins are your biological brothers, while those who don't know would think that they are your enemies. "You can think of Fred and the others as your cousins," Ronald explained to Harry. Instantly, Harry's eyes changed. He completely understood. "You're welcome." Wayne was also at a loss for words. He didn't expect Ronald to thank him for something like this. How badly the Geminis usually bully him. To be honest, when Wayne first read the novel and watched the movie, he was still very unhappy with the character of Ronald. He is very jealous, tends to add drama to his own story, has no outstanding talent, and in the end he even married Hermione, who is the Minister of Magic. This is definitely a shady deal. But the older I get, the more I realize that Ronald really has a hard time. I have 5 older brothers in total, 3 of whom have always been at the top of their class and worked their way up from class monitor to student union president. Although the twins' learning ability is not that exaggerated, their ability to play pranks is definitely at a historical level. In such an environment abroad, Gemini's popularity is even higher than that of academic masters like Percy, and they are definitely influential figures. Further down the line, the younger sister Ginny also inherited a strong magical talent. Just Ronald, nothing else. Growing up in such a high-pressure environment, Ronald just has a little bit of an awkward personality, but he has no problem with major issues. It has been proven that he has a good foundation. Of course, this doesn't mean that Wayne will deliberately make friends with Ronald. He just won't look at everyone with the same stereotypes as before. This is the real world, and everything must be based on his own feelings. So far, he has a good feeling about Ronald and thinks he can be a friend with whom he can greet and chat. Cuthbert Binns was speaking at the top, and the two of them were chatting below, and eventually Harry joined in. "Wayne, you are also from a Muggle family? That's great." "No, I mean we are really destined to be together. We don't live too far from each other. I live in Privet Drive, Surrey." In just a few words, Harry revealed all his secrets. Good-looking people usually gain the favor of others easily. Wayne was the best example. Harry had already considered him his first friend from another house. 50 minutes passed quickly, and before get out of class ended, Cuthbert Binns left a 6-inch paper to explain the early origins of wizards in England. The next class was Transfiguration, with Hufflepuff and Slytherin taking it together. Before they separated, the little witch angrily pulled Wayne to the corner. "You can't do this. You bought a lot of books before school started. I know you love to study and you should listen carefully in class, even if the teacher is a ghost." Looking at Hermione, who really was like a little lion, Wayne nodded obediently. "Don't worry, I will definitely pay attention next time." Hermione didn't know whether Wayne had listened or not, but time was running out, so she could only glare at Wayne and hurried away, feeling a little disappointed. She really regards Wayne as a friend, so she hopes that Wayne can study hard. Wayne understood this, so he wasn't angry at all. After a while, when Hermione sees his results, she will naturally not be like this today. The Transfiguration classroom was on the second floor. Wayne and a group of little badgers walked into the classroom. The first thing he saw was the tabby cat on the table in front of him. He nodded slightly and found a seat to sit down. To be honest, he really wants to play Professor McGonagall and see if the animagus feels better. But he had already witnessed Professor McGonagall's transformation during the summer vacation, and if he went up to him and tried to touch him again, he would be seeking death. But Wayne knew, but many other little wizards didn't. Especially Hufflepuff. Most of the young wizards in this academy like animals and plants. After seeing the cat, some even took out snacks from their pockets to feed it. Wayne immediately showed an expression as if he was looking at the warriors. Episode 28 Transfiguration. Led by Iron Hat King, several Hufflepuff girls are eager to make a move, but have not yet made up their minds. But as the class time got closer, I felt that Professor McGonagall was about to arrive. In order not to miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Hannah brought Bones, Juliet and other girls over, each holding some snacks in their hands. "Damn it." Wayne's eyes widened. "Miranda, where did you get the catnip?" At this moment, the tabby cat, who was surrounded by the girls, suddenly smiled a human-like smile, jumped back, and turned back into Professor McGonagall, as serious as ever. "Miss Abbott, Miss Livingston, don't do such reckless things in the wizarding world, especially when you can't tell what the creature in front of you is." Looking at the catnip, Professor McGonagall's mouth twitched imperceptibly. He is really a student of Hufflepuff. He can get all kinds of strange plants. "McGonagall, Professor McGonagall." Several little witches were obviously frightened and began to stutter. "Okay, class is about to start, please go back to your seats." Hearing this, several girls ran back to their seats as if they had been pardoned, with expressions of fear still on their faces. Even the other students who were watching the fun were startled and sat up straight waiting for class to start. This is a trick McGonagall often uses. When the young wizards enter school, he transforms into an animagus form to scare them and establish his authority. It works every time. Soon, the class bell rang and Professor McGonagall entered the teaching state. Transfiguration is the most dangerous and complex magic you will learn at Hogwarts. If anyone dares to act naughty in my class, I will ask him to leave and never be allowed to come back. The vice principal's aura was fully released, and the whole room fell silent. Malfoy and his two followers also shrank their necks. Even though Slytherin had Snape's protection, no one could protect him if Professor McGonagall got angry. On the podium, McGonagall waved his hand, and dense words appeared on the blackboard. They were the GAMP transfiguration laws that were well known in the wizarding world. This is the foundation of all transfiguration techniques, even an iron rule. Anyone who studies this should keep this information in mind to avoid causing irreversible harm. The young wizards were taking notes quickly, and so was Wayne, but he was selective in what he took notes of. He had already mastered a lot of the knowledge, so there was no need to waste ink. After they finished memorizing, McGonagall took out his wand and tapped the table, turning it into a pig. This move immediately attracted the attention of the little wizard, who exclaimed in surprise and his eyes changed from boredom to anticipation. As an old professor who has taught for decades, McGonagall's teaching level is absolutely unquestionable, and he knows what the young wizards most expect. Each person was given a match. The goal of this class, and even this month's class, is to turn the match into a needle. Transfiguration is classified according to difficulty, from easy to difficult. The order is dead things into dead things, living things into dead things into living things, and living things into living things. The further you go, the greater the difference in difficulty becomes. Well, let alone the future, just the first class was enough to stump everyone. Hannah almost broke the toothpick with her wand, but her toothpick still didn't change. Her desk mate Susan was much better. In 5 minutes, she successfully turned the matchstick green. "Change, change, change for me." Malfoy gritted his teeth, wand barreling. Bang! A firework flew out from the top and nearly blew up his table. "Mr. Malfoy, I told you to focus. There's no point in being angry." McGonagall frowned and criticized. 1 point deducted from Slytherin for your recklessness. "Yes, Professor, I understand." Malfoy, who didn't dare to explode, could only take another match. This is too difficult. Toby made his match flash silver light, and at first he thought it was successful, but later he found that the match did not change at all. It's okay, just concentrate on the matches and don't think about the consequences of success or failure. Wayne casually mentioned it, and with a flick of his wand, the match turned into a silver needle with one end thick and the other thin. There are delicate patterns on the thick end. Just then McGonagall passed by and was surprised and delighted to see his success. Perfect, Mr. Lawrence. This one move alone is something that many young wizards cannot accomplish in a whole semester. She looked at Wayne admiringly. You have a talent for transfiguration. Keep up the good work, Mr. Lawrence. 5 points to Hufflepuff. Thank you, Professor. Wayne thanked him obediently. Toby and Norman at the front table looked at Wayne as if he were a traitor. Didn't you say you'd never been exposed to magic before? How did you succeed so quickly? Fraud. Wayne said confidently, I just did some previews when I was bored during the summer vacation. What's the problem? Toby muttered, who in their right mind would do pre-study? This shows a huge lack of trust in the professor's teaching ability. Okay, you still can talk. Many students also looked at Wayne with envy, and the Slytherins were mostly jealous. What these pure bloods haven't been able to do yet was actually accomplished by a little muggle wizard. It's a slap in the face. Pity. Until the end of the get out of class, no student had succeeded. The one who came closest only managed to slightly change the shape of the matchstick, without changing the material at all. However, Wayne was the only one who succeeded, and Professor McGonagall was very surprised. He even exempted him from the Transfiguration homework this week. It made Toby and Norman's eyes red. But nothing can stop the little badgers from eating. As soon as the get out of class was over, the little wizard rushed to the cafeteria with his schoolbag. Wayne, who was taking his time, became the odd one out. He lowered his head and slowly walked towards the cafeteria, thinking about ways to make money. Through his tricks last night, he found out how much pocket money many little wizards had. Now that school has just started, their wallets are at their fullest, but after a while, they will spend a lot. We must seize the time. Because Wayne was walking with his head down and was so absorbed in his thoughts, he didn't notice a girl coming towards him at the corner. The two men collided with each other. Ouch! The crisp sound woke Wayne up. I'm sorry, are you okay? Episode 29, It's amazing that even Ravenclaw can gather 7 people. The black-haired girl who had fallen down in front of Wayne rubbed her forehead and stood up, revealing her beautiful and delicate face. It's okay, just a little pain in the forehead. Sorry, I was thinking and not looking at the road. Although he is the future devil, Wayne is also a person of character. This was his fault in the first place. Without waiting for the girl to speak, he stretched out his finger and whispered, healed as before. The girl felt a warm sensation on her forehead and instantly discovered that the pain in her forehead was gone. She could also see through the mirror next to her that the redness and swelling that had just appeared had disappeared. Healing spell, and wandless casting at that. You're amazing. She looked at Wayne excitedly. My name is Qiu Zhang, what's yours? Wayne Lawrence. This is Qiu Zhang. Wayne looked at the girl, who was very different from what she appeared in movies and TV shows. She was definitely a standard Huxia beauty. I remember now, you are the Mao Jiong from yesterday. Qiu suddenly realized. Wayne smiled and nodded. That's right. If I had known there were so many beautiful women in Ravenclaw, I might as well have gone to Ravenclaw. He would still say something nice, and sure enough, when Qiu heard Wayne praising her like that, she felt a little shy but also a little happy. The distance between the two of them suddenly became much closer, and they walked towards the auditorium talking and laughing. Snort. After the two left, a light snort was heard from the other side of the door. Hermione, who had just finished her herbology class, witnessed the whole process. She recalled Wayne's attitude when she first met him. Somehow, the little witch felt a little uncomfortable. Quidditch tryouts will begin next week, and I don't know if I'll be selected. Wayne and Qiu had a good chat. The only disagreement between them was that Wayne was so smart that he should have come to Ravenclaw instead of Hufflepuff. Wayne felt that Ravenclaw was not the only school with smart people, such as Professor McGonagall and Dumbledore, who were students from other colleges. Of course, there was one thing he didn't say out loud. That is, Wayne believes that Ravenclaw's so-called cleverness is mostly just self-righteous cleverness or calculating shrewdness. Look at what kind of people graduate from Ravenclaw. This semester's defense against the dark arts professor, Quirrell, was tricked into becoming a Jinchuriki by the remnant soul of Voldemort with just a few words. Lockhart next semester, a complete liar. Barty Crouch was indeed an elite wizard and one of the most capable officials in the Ministry of Magic, but he was also possessed by evil spirits and secretly brought little Barty out of Azkaban, which triggered a series of subsequent disasters. From this perspective, most Ravenclaw people are just a little clever and have completely missed the essence. But Wayne definitely couldn't tell Qiu about these comments. Otherwise, the girl who is still smiling sweetly now will turn hostile in an instant. Heard she was worried about Quidditch tryouts. Wayne also comforted him. Don't worry, Cedric said that it's already good enough for the Ravenclaw Quidditch team to have 7 people. If you sign up, you will definitely be selected. Ravenclaw is a place where there are more females than males, and there are many weirdos among them, so they are not enthusiastic about participating in group activities. There is nothing wrong with what Cedric said, it is very objective. Kyu's face had turned dark. Cedric? The seeker from Hufflepuff, the top 3rd grader? Thank you for your encouragement. I'm going to practice now. I'll definitely play against Hufflepuff next time. Kyu was so inspired that his competitive spirit was completely ignited. The position she originally wanted to compete for was Seeker, and she secretly practiced at home for a long time during the summer vacation. As long as she could be selected, she would definitely catch the golden snitch when she competed with Hufflepuff and let that Cedric see the consequences of looking down on Ravenclaw. Wayne smiled and watched the girl leave. Host sows discord and destroys the relationship between the 2 academies, reward points +50. TSK. Fortunately, this system comes with such an easygoing master, otherwise it would have to be uninstalled. What do you mean by sowing discord? He was just repeating Cedric's original words without adding any exaggeration. Besides, isn't it normal to talk trash before the game? He hasn't even mentioned anything more cruel yet. For example, Fred told a secret on the train yesterday. Quidditch matches between each house and Ravenclaw take a long time. Why? There are 7 players, 5 of whom are girls, and the 2 batsmen are also girls. Apart from playing Quidditch, where else can you have the opportunity to have so many girls play with you and even chase you? When he said this, not only the twins, but even Cedric showed a lewd smile, enjoying it. In the afternoon, there were 2 consecutive periods of charms classes. Professor Flitwick stood on a tall pile of books and called the roll. When he read Harry Potter, he screamed excitedly and fell off the book. It took a long time to recover the excitement and start the first spell class. Spells are the basis of everything. Learning spells is not only to master spells, but also to improve the efficiency of learning other spells and let young wizards have their own understanding of magic. This is also the reason why Harry was able to quickly master the disarming charm and the armor charm after being exposed to them. With a solid foundation, you will be able to learn other spells much faster. Today we are going to learn the most basic spell, the illumination spell. It's very simple, the spell is Lumos. What's going on? Who made you unhappy? Wayne still sat with Hermione, but the little witch didn't give him a good look. Seeing Wayne sit down, he turned his fair face to the other side without saying a word. It's almost written on my face that I'm unhappy. Come and comfort me. Wayne thought about it and decided it definitely wasn't because of what happened in History of Magic class. Hermione wasn't that petty. So what happened? Don't talk to me in class, Mr. Lawrence. Well, Mr. Lawrence has shouted, and the culprit has been found. Wayne had no idea what the little witch was angry about, but he had no experience in coaxing girls, so he just ignored it. As Professor Flitwick allowed everyone to practice freely, the classroom suddenly became noisy. The sounds of chanting mantras rose and fell. Wayne raised his wand and whispered, Lumos. Episode 30, Explosive Genius, so terrifying. As Professor Flitwick said, the illumination spell is a very basic spell. After knowing the spells and gestures, and adding some tips from Flitwick, the young wizards quickly got the hang of it. The classroom was dotted with stars, sometimes bright and sometimes dim. In order to make the light more obvious, the professor thoughtfully pulled the curtains. A bright ball of light appeared at the tip of Wayne's wand, with moderate brightness and a stable light source. It's not like other little wizards who flicker on and off. Very good, Mr. Lawrence, 2 points for Hufflepuff. Professor Flitwick came over and praised. He didn't show too much excitement. After all, the lighting spell is too simple and can be mastered with a little practice. Flitwick only gave Wayne 2 points as encouragement because his spell was big, round and long-lasting. Hermione glanced sideways, raised her head and snorted coldly, then also chanted the spell. The tip of her wand lit up, but not as brightly as Wayne's. The light was still too bright and a little blinding. When the little witch wanted to lower the brightness, the spell dissipated due to her lack of magic control. Puff. Wayne found it funny and laughed out loud accidentally. What are you laughing at? You're just more skilled than me. Hermione said angrily, and then cast the illumination spell again. The performance this time was even worse. The wand only lit up for a moment and then stopped responding. You need to maintain a calm mindset to maintain a stable output, Wayne instructed. So, Miss Granger, could you please tell me how I irritated you? Hermione said sourly, why bother with me? Go find your Ravenclaw senior. Wayne's head was full of question marks. First of all, he and Kyu just exchanged a few words, but Hermione saw it, which was quite unusual. Secondly, little witch, what do you mean by that tone? There's nothing going on between us yet. No. Hermione also realized that there was something wrong with her tone and quickly explained. The first time we met, you were already trying to rip me off, but you were treating that Ravenclaw like that. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Wayne glanced around and found that Professor Flitwick had walked away, which made him feel relieved. Am I cheating you out of your money? I'm just doing good things. Knowledge is priceless. I only spent 2 sickles and read a week's worth of books. Tell me if I made a profit or not. It's quite profitable. Hermione nodded subconsciously. But I always feel something is wrong. That's fine. It's precisely because you love studying so much that I reluctantly lend you the book. I promise, if Q asks me to borrow a book, I won't give it to him. After another round of hesitation, Hermione smiled unconsciously, not noticing that Wayne had started calling Q by her first name. The young wizards were practicing magic for the entire class, and Toby came over with a distressed look on his face. Wayne, is there any way to make the lights steady? They're like police car lights, they're blinding me. How should I put it? Wayne pondered for 2 seconds. Just imagine that you are holding a torch instead of a wand. Firmly believe this. Toby returned to his seat, lost in thought. What did Wayne say? Norman asked. They both have the same problem, their lights are constantly flashing, one looks like a police car and the other looks like an ambulance. Wayne said to imagine that you're holding a torch instead of a wand, and to focus. Then I'll try. Norman nodded, raised his wand high, and roared with great momentum. Lumos. Boom. There was light, but it was fire. A long snake of fire gushed out, startling Professor Flitwick, who quickly summoned a stream of water to put it out. What a talent! Wayne was amazed. His roommate was indeed no simple person. He chanted the illumination spell and used the fire spell. If this is used in battle, it will definitely be a great way to ambush people. Mr. Sherlock, Mr. Lawrence's method is correct, but don't get excited. You should hold the torch, not throw it away. Professor Flitwick explained in a daze that he was also very scared just now, but fortunately his wand was raised upwards. If it was in front of someone, Madame Pomfrey in the infirmary would complain to him again. After 2 more reminders, Professor Flitwick continued to patrol the classroom, helping the young wizards master spells. He originally thought that Norman had gone too far, but who could have imagined that even worse was yet to come. Mr. Finnegan, loosen your grip a little, your wand is about to break. There should be pauses when chanting the mantra. Lumos tilde tilde maximum, remember this rhythm. No wonder Professor Flitwick has won the title of Hogwarts' most popular professor for 16 consecutive years. He is patient, good-tempered, and provides students with plenty of internship opportunities. I'm sure everyone likes him. Seamus, who was nervous just now, also relaxed a lot after being comforted by Flitwick. He raised his head confidently, and the wand in his hand turned into a baton, drawing a graceful arc. His desk mate Neville looked at him expectantly, and Flitwick also gave him an encouraging look. Seamus. Wayne frowned, feeling a bad premonition. Isn't this the genius who did the blasting? He and Hermione were seated only 1 table away from Seamus, Norman, and Toby. When Wayne heard Seamus start to chant the spell, he felt a growing sense of foreboding. Lumos tilde tilde maximum. Get down. Wayne pulled Hermione without thinking, and the little witch lost her balance and fell into Wayne's arms. Almost at the same time. Boom! A huge buzzing sound appeared in everyone's ears, and a strong explosion enveloped the spell classroom. More than a dozen little witches screamed so loudly that their eardrums were almost pierced. The 3 people at the center of the explosion, Seamus and Neville, had their faces burnt black and their hair turned into afro. Professor Flitwick, because of his short stature, escaped the disaster. But because they were closest to the explosion, they suffered temporary deafness. Hiccup tilde. Seamus burped and blew out 2 smoke rings, but his eyes were extremely bright and he was unaware of his situation. Professor, did you see that? It just lit up. What did you say? Professor Flitwick asked loudly. I said, it lights up. Flitwick lost his footing and nearly fell. Well said, don't say it again next time.